Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play World of Goo. Today we're going to be taking on the grapevine virus. So, let's see what the sign painter has to say about this region. It says, this area is infected, keep out. Oh. So I suppose we can't be bringing any of our goo balls down there, huh? Well, we'll see just about that. But in order to do this puzzle, let's start off by doing what we do best on this superhighway of information here. Fling the goo bitamites up to the next scaffolding up there. This way you can further your goals. There's no having to extend outwards any of the goo structures. It's just purely fling, which is fun for me. I like these flingable goo balls. They're a blast to play with. And it makes me wish that if there was a World of Goo 2, you know, fingers crossed, seeing how well this game did, that the developers would put in modding tools for the community so that they could redesign their own levels, because, man, these things would be fun to just do off of a whim. I really don't know what goes into modding levels like this, but messing around with elements of goo flinging, or maybe even like the destructible fire goo that we worked with in Chapter 3. Those are all great goo balls that I'd love to try and incorporate in one puzzle all together. So that this way you'd have Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, Chapter 1 and 2, all those goo types intermingling to solve one really awesome puzzle. It's funny, apparently that block structure was asleep. You could tell by the other block up there of goo-made squares that are having Z's. They're tired of being in the super highway of information, rather. I do wonder what made them abandon this place. Maybe they didn't have enough goo they needed to keep the power running. I sometimes wonder that. Are these goo balls used for more than just products? Perhaps they were a whole power source for this one area. Again, I'm not sure what world the World of Goo takes place in. The gooey world, maybe. But its inhabitants look quite bleak. Ah, damn. Ooh, that was close. Almost dropped into the virus vat there. And don't worry, it's not the worst thing if it does drop into that virus liquid, because, believe it or not, we're going to actually be going backwards. Not like that. Not when I fail to fling the goo. But once we get to the top, we will be sending some of our goo members back into the goo of redness. I keep doing that. I keep hitting the corner. I will retrieve him after I'm done with these, just in case I do it again. And of course, I've got like just a couple more left, so it's not happening. But we will actually submerge some of our... That was so close. I thought he was going to get cut up by that blade. We'll submerge some of our fellows here into the red solution. And wait till you see what happens. It really does hold the solution to this puzzle. You cannot simply fling your goo up to where you want to go, which is up here, and expect to get down to the pipe. Because if you remember, in that windy level that we took on, no matter how far we fling the goo and no matter what direction we do it in, we cannot fling them into the pipe to be retrieved and then kept in our World of Goo Corporation Mega Tower. Ooh, that was too close. Same concept goes here. If you want to have your shots be a surefire win every time, always try to arc. Always try to arc and extend. Oh, I didn't even know one of my goo guys dropped down there before. Okay. Arc and extend your shot so that it's a little bit above where the arrow is pointing, and where it is above, you'll go a tiny bit below that. Can be a little bit hard if you're just watching this video and you're thinking, well, what do you mean it has to be below the arrow? But trust me, when you fling around some goo on your own, if you're doing a playthrough of this on your own gaming device and you're just using this as a guide, well, you'll understand what I mean. I like these goo because they're the catapult goo. It's really fun to fling things, but surprisingly, I don't like Angry Birds. A lot of people have Whoa, that was too close for comfort. A lot of people have PM'd me about it. They say, hey, you know, I heard you just got a new iPad or a new iPod to work with. It's really not my iPad, but I have one to work with. And I have had Android for so long, so that's another method of Angry Birds, but I never got into it. World of Goo, however, this is a gripping indie game. To me, it just seems, I mean, I know it's not random. Anybody who's a good Angry Birds player would tell you that it's very much not random and it's all about the finger skill. But at a certain point, it does become based on random luck of, that was no luck, that was poor aim. That was too far back of an arc, not enough propulsion. But in a lot of the ways I've seen that game be played, it sometimes depends on how the physics of the world will work and if the blocks will topple on top of the pigs. And you can only really modify that to a certain extent by how good and how well you aim your shots. So, meh, Angry Birds never really fazed me. But this is a satisfying fling mechanic that actually gets something done. I guess with the Angry Birds, you're taking too much of a passive position for me to enjoy it. I'm not controlling that much of the game other than the rubber band catapult, and I just don't like games that have a simple one control mechanism. This game, yeah, it really has the basic same control throughout, which is take goo balls and place them in different positions in order to get different results, but that's the thing. There are so many different results in this game to experience when you go through it that you'll be playing around with these goo balls endlessly just to see how you can get them to geometrically form up without falling. No! I hate Digigear sacrifice. If those digital saw blade gear things are any type of firewall, they're doing a poor job, I must say. Otherwise, this place would not have been infected. It wouldn't have been abandoned. There still seems to be goo here to me. But again, they are not... No! They are not in the pipe. So for the next part of this puzzle, we are going to have to drop down these red guys, or drop down the green goo that we have now and transform them into those red dudes in order to get the grapevine effect for which this level is named after. And I'm just going to show you real quick with this one sample goo how it's going to be done. Might as well bring you up there too. Extendo the chain and reach for the pipe. Now the reason that I wait to get all of my goo, figures, that was a waste of my efforts. The reason I wait to get all my goo up to the top of the vine is because I'm not certain at any point how many goo it takes to get the red grapevine going where you need it to be. Now aim slightly below where the next junction point is on the red goo chain. This way you snag on automatically. Alright, you get in there. For once now I actually want you to fall in the red solution. At first when I came into this area I was skeptical of it because there's a big red sign there by the sign painter that said it was an infected area. I thought, oh no, if my goo balls got together in this infection vat and then came up to the other goo that were sitting calmly being green and good, they may infect a whole bunch of them. But that's not the problem here. That's not the case and nothing to worry about. I don't think that you can ever get these infected goo into the pipe though. That's one thing that is a big reason not to spend all your goo even when you get to the top. Don't get overexcited and be like, woohoo, I'm gonna send all my goo into the vat of toxic virus acid. It'll be great. Not like that though. But no, it won't be great if you end up not having the goo necessary to get to the pipe. Then again, there is a very low requirement for this level, so if you're not doing OCD runs like I am not, because it's just no fun for me to do OCD runs, I just like to get through games and get to the end of regular level completion. That does it for me. But if you're like that, then you won't have too much trouble completing this level. There is plenty of goo to go around, and I think the developers mainly did that because stupid moves like that, where I just run into the gear, and that was too close for comfort again. But phew, I don't know if ever you can run into that red chain and have it crash into the gears. I'm not certain that can happen. So go by 3s, go maybe even by 4s if you want. We need to get down all the way to the pipe. And what's cool about the dangling grapevine of red virus goo is that as you go down further and as you collect more red linkages in the chain, it gets closer to the pipe, which means you're not going to have to catapult these guys over and over and over and over again to the very tippity top and dodge all those gears. You'll only at a certain point have to dodge some of the gears on the way up, but you will not have to run the full gauntlet of gears. And that's good for me because obviously I've got a destruction of goo problem here with these gears. Now let's see how high we can get up there. Nope, not quite. Not quite, very close. I think one more link will do it, and then we won't even have to transfer over to any more squares. Because like I said, ideally we don't even want to be risking this catapult job, even though it's not that difficult. I am just a little bit stupid in my mechanics of fling. So I would really like to just stay on this one block and see if we can't do damage like that. Fucha! Alright, perfect. Linkage made. So I was not keeping track. If you guys were in the video, you could tell me how many red goo it took to get down to that point. Also, because I was not keeping track, a great thing would be to see how many goo it took to actually get the chain long enough to get to the pipe. Whoever comments on that first gets a thumbs up from me and my thanks, because that would be a great thing to know. Really something I should do if this was a walkthrough. Thankfully it's a let's play, and for me, let's plays are more casual, not as informative, and just a good old time playing around. But it is an important thing to learn if you're trying to really do well on these levels. Maybe you do want to go for the OCD. Maybe you do. Maybe you're someone who does not have modding capabilities, and the way to extend your gameplay is by going back, playing the levels you've already had before, and trying to do the OCD. In which case, the commenter who tells you how many it takes to get down to the pipe, that'll be a very valuable comment. That's what I really like about LPs, is that it may seem like a one-way experience for some time while I'm recording and playing the games, talking to myself, but eventually there's a response from the viewers. And that's where things get really cool. So, tomorrow we will continue on with you cool cats, and hopefully you let me know how many goo it took to get there. Alright, a little bit over the goal of 4. A +3 bonus to our corporation of goo. And we're good to go, so I'll see you tomorrow for more World of Goo on the Information Superhighway.